What's up? Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Packers Hate Week is officially here as the Bears take on the Packers this Sunday at Lambeau Field. And how about the Chicago Bears being the #1 seed in the NFC as we sit here today in the start of December? Shout out your city. Let us know where you guys are tuning in from as we get this party started. A lot of FGBs in the chat already. Shout out to Bear Down, Philip, Robert, Country in the game. Let's just go to that now. Let's be honest. Let's get it pumping in the chat. Here we go. Get the FGBs rolling right now. Come on. Here we go. All right, we got Baby Snipe, Eclipse, Ryan. We've got Caleb, Perry as well. We got Scavenger, Jose, Bear Down, Rinchy. That's the theme of the week. Get the FGBs rolling in the live chat. Gabriel, Countryman. Countryman, by the way, we got your email. My boss has forwarded it to me, so we will get you squared away for the jersey. Carl says FGB. So does Robert. Let's go. Let's go. It's here. Cullen's doing a couple things behind the scenes, then he'll hop on as well. We got Brian, Timothy, Bear Down as well. Joe says, living in Arizona, born and raised in the city of Chicago, FGB. I love it. We got Noob in Little Village, or saying his name's Ricardo. Let's go, Ricardo. CB Sports. We got Chris Jefferson. You still looking for it? I mean, I can find it somewhere. Has to be. Here it is. I got it. Isn't that Slack with Arnold in it? Why was Cullen doing Raiders Report? Because I was off Sunday, and Cullen is a very talented producer, so he was utilized elsewhere this week. How was it, by the way, on Raiders? I know Mitch was a little under the weather, so.
Yeah, you actually got to see a little hosting, I guess, from me, a little bit where Mitch was kind of, battling through the elements. And
was he yakking? Like, was he leaving to
no,
go
on camera.
yak? No, I know.
He was classy enough to to leave.
What do you have, just like a stomach bug or something?
Yeah, he had been dealing. I'll tell you later, but let's just say, yeah, he was feeling under the weather, and your boy, was doing a little Raiders-Chargers play-by-play.
This wasn't related to his other medical.
No, it was. Yeah, that's why I said.
Oh, really?
I'll explain.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
I'll explain later.
Brutal.
What up, Bears fans? It's FGB week. Get those FGBs down below. Appreciate Harry helping me out with that. Behind the screens and behind the scenes, I should say.
Behind the screens and behind the scenes.
Exactly. But yeah, shout out to, what was it? I saw the Polish hardware store. He came through. A couple of y'all from Bears Now showed up, so appreciate that. But yeah, we're back on to regularly scheduled programming this week as the Bears take on the Packers. FGB this Sunday. Primetime slot for Fox, too, 325. And, yeah, this is
it's real, Bears fans.
It's real.
Let's go. #1 seed heading into December and heading into this massive matchup against the Packers. Appreciate everybody for being here. All right, last chance to take advantage of our Cyber Monday deal. It was a Black Friday deal initially. Now we've extended it to Cyber Monday. Link in the chat. We'll throw it in there and the description as well. I actually don't know if it's in the live description. It's going to be in the live chat here. I'll make sure it's in the description of the video as well. I'll throw it in there now. Actually, Colin's going to get it in the chat for you guys. Yep. So go ahead and take advantage. Cardiac Bears t-shirts, 20% off. Tomorrow they will go back up to full price. Still a good deal, $29.99, but right now $24. Get yourself a Cardiac Bear shirt today. Appreciate everybody who's already purchased one. Holidays are here. This is a great Christmas present for yourself, your dad, your kid, your brother, your friend, yourself, whatever. Cardiac Bear shirts. And stay tuned. We got some other gear we're going to plug a little bit later in the show. I think you guys are going to be excited about that. So trying to up our merch game here. And if you're down for some Bears Now merch, more and more to come, type FGB in the chat. How about that? Type FGB in the chat if you would be interested in some Bears Now merch. All right, we got Luke with the 5. It really can't be overstated how effing insane it is to go from a team that invented ways to lose every week to be the number 1 seed in a year's time. It's unbelievable. What Ben Johnson has done is unbelievable. And today he said, what I love about him is he's not even close to satisfied. Like, this guy does not let the details slip. He said today, we've accomplished nothing yet. We got 5 more weeks to go in the regular season. I love his mentality. I love what he's about. He has galvanized this team, this city. I mean, Chicago's on fire right now. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible what this guy has accomplished.
Yeah, in such a short period, as you mentioned. And look, I mean, Bears fans should be excited about Ben Johnson and, the future ahead. I think one thing that you've kind of said multiple times that I'll reiterate here is that it feels like an actual grown-up coaching staff that has like a plan and just seems to understand like the importance of the little details that weren't as emphasized last year. I think it's safe to say in our opinion here. So no, listen, I think Ben Johnson, he's done a lot of really smart things. There's obviously some things he can improve on, but for a first-year head coach, I think he's firmly in the running for Coach of the Year in the National Football League, and he deserves to be.
Yeah.
He absolutely deserves to be.
I think to me it's him and Vrabel right now. I don't think Steichen all of a sudden is doing a poor job, but the Colts just slipping a little bit. I think Johnson and Vrabel should be the top 2 in whatever order you want. They've been awesome.
Somebody in the chat says somebody check on Patrick Seatman.
I sit right next to him. It's a rough time. Listen, it's crazy. The Bears and the Vikings have flipped year over year.
They have.
The Bears have an exciting, fun offense, and they're winning games. The Vikings don't have an exciting and fun offense, and they're losing games.
And they want to fire their head coach, or at least some of them do.
Yeah, I think that even though a lot of their fans are frustrated with Kevin O'Connell, and I don't think it's been a great year for KOC. I still think his approval rating is higher than Matt Eberflus's ever was, but yeah, it's the vibes are low over there and they're high over here. So NFL, it's just year to year, you don't know what you're going to get. Christ is King, biggest game of the year for the Bears. I have them sweeping the pack, and with our defense getting healthy, I got the Bears winning 31-28. What did I have this morning? 26-24?
26-24.
It's my early week prediction. Cullen also, one of his bold predictions was sweeping the Packers, which, by the way, I'm actually going to look back real quick. Bold predictions. I'm trying to remember which each of us predicted. So hang on a second.
Okay. I think I remember.
So I'm looking at both of ours. I've got mine first here.
Okay.
My 5 bold predictions were this. Okay. DeAndre Swift, 1,500 plus total yards, which probably won't happen, but if you combine what he and Benungai are doing, like, I feel like that's not that far off.
Right.
If that makes sense. Caleb Williams, 4,000 plus. He's a little under-projected right now. That's still on the table, but with the weather turning, probably unlikely. He'll probably be in the 38-ish range, I would guess, and especially with how good they're running the ball. I mean, that's their identity right now. Trevon Dexter will lead the Bears in sacks. Long shot. Looks like that'll be Montez Sweat. 3-player start at left tackle. That's already happened.
Yep. Nailed that one.
And my last one, which we'll see, was this will be DJ Moore or Cole Kmet's last year in Chicago. I think both guys have had really great attitudes, and even if their production hasn't been great, they've been great team guys this year, so we'll see on that front. You had, let's see, I'm pulling yours up right here. Caleb Williams breaks out. I don't know if it's been like it's not been like the holy shit breakout, but I do think there's been clear progress there. So
he's taking a step forward.
We'll call that a half check.
Yeah. I don't know. It's either all or nothing, so I'll give myself an X on that one.
Kyler Gordon leads the team in picks, hadn't been healthy.
Yeah,
Odunze, wide receiver 1. Even though he's slowed down, he is the number 1 receiver, so you'll get a check for that one.
Yep.
Poles, big splash trade at the deadline didn't happen, but they looked into it.
They did look into it.
And then Bears sweep the Packers, which obviously they haven't played yet. So all right, we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see.
You have a chance to go 2 for 5. I have a chance, I think, to also go 2 for 5. And on bold predictions, 40%.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right, our guy Michael Horowitz, who should I just tease it? I'll just say it now. Michael Horowitz has donated 2 tickets to the channel for the Bears-Packers home game at Soldier Field in Week 16. I'll just say it now because I have control of the tickets now. He sent them to us graciously. This Sunday, we are going to do a raffle opportunity. I think it's going to be $10 for a chance to get those tickets. We want to give everybody a fair shot. $10, and we'll probably cap it at 10 raffle tickets. Like if you send in 100, you're cut off because we want everybody to have a fair shot for 2 tickets. So first of all, let's get the booms in the chat for Michael.
Yes, of course.
Even though this is a mini boom, but he's the boom master, if you will. So that's number 1. And just thanks again, Michael. That is quite a donation to the channel, and he wants you guys someone to get 2 tickets and $10 for a chance to win 2 tickets in the lower bowl at Soldier Field for Bears-Packers, and probably the biggest Bears-Packers game at home in years. This first one's on the road, obviously. So Horowitz is a legend, man. So show this guy some love. He did not have to do this. We certainly would not ask him to do this, but he's a believer in us. He's a supporter of the show. He loves this team. So, Michael, we all appreciate, we love you, and thanks again. Absolutely legendary stuff from Horowitz.
Horowitz, thank you again so much. We always appreciate you joining in. And listen, just since I've been here, you've been more than gracious in terms of your kind of loyalty to the show. So, truthfully, from the bottom and Harry and I's hearts, we appreciate you all. And, yeah, just get the booms down below for Michael Horowitz.
And team's vibing right now. So, chance to go to Bears-Packers in Week 16. Holy shit.
Pretty sweet.
I'm jealous. I can't take those tickets and go, but I'm mad at people. I'll be here live for you guys. So, daily basis, over, under, 3.5 total turnovers in Bears-Packers. Which you taking? That's a good number. Because over, that would mean, 2 each or 3-1 or 4 for some team. Probably go over, honestly. Bears lead the NFL in takeaways. It's going to be really cold. That could lead to, receiver drops a ball and it gets caromed into the air, that type of stuff. I'll go over. I like the over. I could see 4. I could see 3-1 or 2-2 in that game. I like the over.
I know we say this pretty much every week, and it's not even really like a bold prediction at this point. I do think, A, this game's going to come down to the wire. Shocker, cardiac Bears. Yeah, I get it. But also, too, this game in particular is really a season-defining game for the Chicago Bears. Not in the terms of, like, this will, determine if they make the playoffs or not or any of that stuff. To me, it's like, okay, the Packers, yes, you got that win last year in Week 18, the walk-off. That really kind of was just a huge, just
sigh of relief.
Yeah, just sigh of relief. You got it done and everything. This year, it's like, okay, you are competing in the NFC with the likes of the Packers, the Rams, the Eagles, the Seahawks, the Niners, the whomever, right? You're competing in all that stuff. You beat the Eagles last week, and it's a huge win. But now you're going up against a division rival on the road with extra time to prepare. Ben Johnson,
Packers played Thursday.
True, but
both teams have more than normal allotment.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where between these 2 games for the Packers, you have the Browns. For Green Bay side, which we'll talk about later, they've got the Broncos in the middle of that, which are obviously they're competing for the AFC's number 1 seed. So
whereas the Bears have the Browns.
Exactly. So I think we're in for a really interesting game, and I'm wanting to see how the Bears do up against Green Bay, and
they just keep passing these tests, right? Like Minnesota on the road felt like that was they've obviously just collapsed since then, but like that felt like an up in competition, found a way. Pittsburgh at home, Aaron Rodgers, even though he didn't play, passed that test. Eagles in front of the whole world, smoked them on Black Friday. Now it's another big test. Like it's just like it's impressive what they're doing, and it's not going to get easier. Packers twice, at San Francisco and Detroit still, so there's a lot A lot of tough tests coming up. But
Can Caleb Williams stay undefeated at Lambeau Field?
Hopefully. 1-0. Looking for 2-0. Big Sean, feels good to actually enjoy a football season. Look forward to games and not talk tanking and mock drafts before the season ends. Soak it in. Bear down, FGB. Dude, 2 years ago, I did 25 mock drafts. I did like 8 of those during the season. This year, the only one I've done was during the bye week, and that'll be a theme every year. Every year during the bye week, when you don't have as much day-to-day content to flow through, players are off for 3 or 4 days, I will still do a mock draft every year during the bye week, regardless of if they're good or bad. But like the fact that that's the only one I've done, Colin, other than the way too early after the draft one we always do, I mean, that is so refreshing. It's awesome. I don't get me wrong. I love doing mock drafts, and we will do them a lot during the offseason. From the combine on, we'll probably do one per week, and I love doing it, but I don't like doing it in October. I don't like doing it in November. I don't think I'm going to do one in December, which is pretty awesome. So, yeah, it's exciting to be talking about the day-to-day with the actual team.
Not that we have one planned or in the chamber, as Harry kind of alluded to, but just let us know down in the chat. Would you be interested in a mock draft at this point in the season? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I just want to see if the chat would even be interested in a mock draft at this point. Because you're right. I mean,
I still think people would be interested, but I don't know if you'd want it instead of like relevant in-season content. See, most people are saying no. It's like it's 30-70.
Okay. I was curious to see what they would say. And listen, right? Like, you don't have to have one because obviously they're, doing well.
Yeah.
Mike Nintendo Master, sure.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I won't say no, but
we're winning.
It's nice that we don't. It's nice to not fire up the PFF mock draft machine every other day. I'll tell you that.
Kiddis, yes, to answer that question. They will be back.
Draft Crusher, that is a staple on this show as long as Colin's a part of this show.
Yeah.
I would say the first one, I'll probably launch the first one like the week before the Combine or something like that, mid-Feb.
Yeah, we could do that.
Or maybe like a week or two after the season ends, whenever that is.
Yeah, and honestly, like...
Hopefully that is mid-February.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be something. Yeah, it'll be a huge part. Kyle Manun guy. Heck of a...
His first draft crush is like the steal of the draft. I mean, I haven't looked at every 7th-round pick. I'm guessing he's been the most productive one.
He certainly has an argument.
He and Ashton Genty have the same odds for Rookie of the Year. Now, neither are going to win it, but that just goes to show how good of a pick it's been. All right, Christ is king. What Ben Johnson has done with the Bears is unprecedented. The schemes are on a new level. The play calling is amazing. He's the best coach since Smith. Yeah, and schematically, and look, I love Lovie Smith. What he did for this franchise was awesome. He is a much better schematical coach than Lovie Smith. Now, Lovie had a really good defense, and at the time was innovative. That defense is kind of staled out now. Not trying to downplay Lovie. What Ben Johnson, his just football mind from an X's and O's standpoint, I mean, some of these runs, Colin, like it's one thing to be like, hey, just run the ball. This isn't Madden where it's just like, okay, I'll run either halfback dive or like power.
Right.
It's like, no, these runs, there are a lot of details in all of them. Like, he's very creative in the run game.
Yes.
Like, it's easy to be creative in the passing game. Motions, like boots, different passing concepts, routes. Like, he's creative in the run game with the blocking assignments, with the, all the blockers are going one way to set up a back cut the other way, which has been a bread and butter play they've run this year. It's like watching the run game usually isn't that entertaining. It's entertaining in a Ben Johnson offense. Like it's really fun to watch.
No doubt. And, one of the biggest, there's two things that have really stuck out to me when Ben Johnson has spoken about the run game in the past / his actions. One, him simply saying, like, I take pride in the run game more than the passing game. Like, he truly values that part of the offense and what it can lead to and what it can create for other opportunities across the field. The second thing is the fact that he was willing to change his scheme mid-season, realizing, like, hey, the strengths of this team, seeing the progress in terms of, like, hey, let's use our kind of, tackles, Theo Bennett at the time, and then Darnell Wright, and get them more involved in the run game and have DeAndre Swift, who's more of an outside home run hitter, let's use his strengths. Then Kyle Manun guy, try to get him more involved in the offense. So Yeah, I think Ben Johnson not being satisfied in terms of just, hey, listen, he could easily be a guy that's like, hey, I'm a genius. You brought me in from Detroit. Like, my scheme clearly works. He's like, no, I want to tailor this to the skill set of this Bears roster, and it's clearly paid dividends, as we've seen, throughout this kind of since the bye week for the Bears. So
it's been awesome to see, man. It's been awesome to see. Say's trades, I think the Bears sweep the Packers. Also, everyone was pissed when it took long for Ben to choose his left tackle. Safe to say they all did their part. Yeah, and look, like, Ozzie is still the weak link on the offensive line, but that's more so because the other guys have been remarkable. Darnell Wright is the 4th highest graded right tackle in the NFL, and I don't even think he's played his best last couple weeks. Jonah Jackson and Joe Thuney have both graded out as top 10 guards. Drew Dahlman is the 3rd best center per PFF. And I know PFF is weird, but I think with offensive line grading, it's probably the best that exists because there's not really anything else out there. And the eye test matches those grades. I mean, they've been, the interior especially has been remarkable. Darnell's taken a step this year. And, Ozzie's not going to be a dominant player, but if he can continue to progress and do some good things, that's obviously a good thing as well.
I just love how many people are on the Bears sweeping the Packers train. I love it.
FGV, baby. Let's go. M. Xavier, Ben is definitely going to be a madman this week. Yeah, I'm already predicting it, Cohen, with the extra time to prepare. It's been a few weeks since we've seen like a true trick play. Don't get me wrong. They've had like they had that, I guess, that double reverse a couple weeks ago, but like that's not like a Ben Johnson special. I think we're getting something this week. Like, is this the week we get the Darnell Wright touchdown or at least attempted touchdown? Do they get Bajent involved again this week with the trick play? Like, I am predicting it with the game of this stakes. You will see a trick play call on Sunday. Now, whether or not it works, Packers defend it, whatever, we'll see. But I think Ben Johnson will pull something out for this game.
Yeah, and I think, listen, I mean, he's no stranger, obviously, to having trick plays. And look, going back to his comment before the season, he knows the kind of target that he kind of put on himself / the Bears when he said, listen, like, I enjoyed beating the Packers when I was in Detroit. So he's not going to sit here and just have a regular game plan. Like, to M. Xavier's point, he could be very well a madman in this one, and I'm here for it.
The beauty of Ben Johnson, too, I think is a bit of a misconception, is like, because last year it was the 3rd year in that offense. They had mastered it in Detroit, obviously. So there was a higher volume in trick plays. He's not like a trick play merchant, though.
Right.
Like, it's not like he's a good OC that, like, banks on these trick plays. It's like, no, like, his just bread and butter concepts are elite. Right. He just happens to also be creative enough to have these awesome trick plays. So it's I can't believe the Bears have this guy as their coach. I mean, they have been the most dull offensive franchise maybe ever in the NFL, and they're like one of the most exciting offenses in the league. It's remarkable.
And they're just getting started.
Joe 2910. Love it. Do you have a player in mind who the Bears will be looking at in the draft? I haven't done a ton of drafts, so I mean, I'm keeping an eye on it. Big picture, obviously, like first-round guys. A lot of the guys I love are not going to be available where the Bears are picking, right? I mean, like, I would love to get Arvell Reese on this defense, but he's going to go top 7.
Yeah.
Could you get like one of the Texas Tech edge rushers or the A&M guy, the Cassius Howell, whatever his name is? We'll see. We'll certainly dive into that more when we get closer into draft season.
It also kind of depends on, the moves they make to start off the offseason, the AK free agency, who do they maybe pivot off of?
Yeah, if they have like the 23rd pick, do they just trade that pick for a player?
Could be.
They might do that. We'll see. Michael went from angry Harrison crash outs to happy Harrison crash outs. This year, number 1 for me so far is the Commanders game. Can't wait to top for the top 10. Yeah, I mean, I think, and I just think in general, just like it was for Washington last year, I think that was like a launch point game. It got you back above 500 after starting 0-2. That got you to 3-2. Emotional win on the road, especially after what happened last year. I'm not saying if they lost, they wouldn't be having a good year. But it just felt like, okay, that monkey's off our back now from last year. Let's just play ball now. And they were 3-2 after winning that game, and they're 9-3 now. So they've clearly played some really good football since then. So, yeah. Yeah, that video will be interesting, Michael. It'll be an annual tradition. Michael Horowitz, I heard the Soldier Field Suckers home might be out into the 6:30 slot. I like what he's saying. So that Bears-Packers game, which Michael donated 2 tickets to the channel that we're going to raffle off this Sunday for the Bears-Packers road game, we'll be raffling it off that game for the home game. So to be clear, those tickets are for Week 16, not for this Sunday. That's a Saturday game, and it could be the night game. So a little Saturday night Soldier Field action. 2 tickets to somebody. Be there Sunday.
Pretty awesome.
For a chance to win. Yeah. Shout out to Horowitz again. What a legend. Thomas, who would you not want the Bears to face in the playoffs? For me, it'd be the Cowboys. If they were to sneak in, they've been hot since the deadline and FGB. Yeah, I mean, especially if the Bears get, let's say they get the 2 seed or something, right? Dallas sneaks in as a 7. They'd be a pretty dangerous 7 seed, dude. I mean, that means they would have been hot to get into the playoffs. Their defense now, Cullen with Quinnen Williams on board, even Logan Wilson, just an extra linebacker. Overshone's back.
Yep.
He was not playing in that game. So, Dak's obviously playing really well. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to draw them. Other than that, you'd say the Rams or something. But I think the Rams or the Seahawks are pretty unlikely opponents in the first round because there's a good chance the loser that's the 5 seed, and I think the NFC South winner is the 4 seed.
Right.
So Tampa or Carolina would draw Seattle or LA or potentially San Francisco if they keep winning. I wouldn't want to play Dallas. I don't love the idea. The reason I'd say Detroit is I don't like the idea of playing the same team twice in a row. If you had to play them in Week 18, then again the next week, I just don't love that. I think that's tough. The ideal opponent, I would say, would probably be if Carolina snuck in as the 7 or something, but I think it's NFC South or bust for them. Obviously, hopefully they win the division and then they just don't play in the first round, or win the conference and they don't play in the first round. So, long way to go here. Green Bay would be tough. That'd be the 3rd time in 6 weeks you'd be playing them. So,
I think I'll just to piggyback off that point. It's really hard to beat an opponent, that you've seen for a 3rd time. So Detroit or Green Bay, you'd be kind of not necessarily at a disadvantage, but it would just be a mentally hey, NFC North, you're familiar with each other. I mean, it would just be in terms of a mentally and physically, it would be a tough game for any division team to potentially play in the playoffs. That being said, outside of the division, to me, the Rams, I know they lost to Carolina, and it probably wouldn't be likely for the Bears.
I still think they're the most complete team in the NFC.
Agreed. And I think, they're
beatable, clearly. They just lost to Carolina, but I think their best is the best.
Yeah, and I still think their combination versus Braden Fisk, I think they've got some really good young linebackers. Their secondary still playing really well.
Stafford proved last year he can play in elements. I mean, he played really well in Philadelphia in that snow game.
Yeah.
You'd rather play Purdy.
Yes.
At Soldier Field in January, right?
100%.
You'd rather play, again, Bryce Young, if you somehow drew that opponent. Even the Eagles. If they collapse but snuck in as a wild card, I wouldn't mind playing them at home because they don't run the ball that well. We just saw that play out. So, we got a long way to go. We're actually going to do a little playoff picture kind of Bears controls destiny segment here on today's show, so stay tuned for that.
Also, just before, and I know you talked about this in a video you did over the weekend, but this is my first time being on this show and showing this graphic. Look who's number 1, baby.
Bears, baby.
Can we get some ones in the chat for the number 1 seed in the NFC?
Yeah, just regardless what happens the rest of the year, remember earlier in the year we were let's at least get to December to be in the hunt, and not the fake in the hunt. You're the 4-7 team that gets listed just because. No, they are entering December as the number 1 seed. Don't get me wrong, if they lost out and missed the playoffs, that would obviously be a huge disappointment. But this is already for the most part a successful season. Like, this has been unbelievable.
100%. And listen, hey, y'all deserve it. Y'all deserve it.
Y'all been loyal, man. This is a real-ass fan base. It's a real-ass fan base. Dennis, the Chicago kid, the goal was always to get teams to fear the run. The passing will fall. Ben did the same in Detroit. This is only the surface being scratched. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Look, Caleb Williams, and we'll talk about it. Ben Johnson made some comments today. Clearly, there's still growth and development needed, but I still like where he's at. I don't think he's been a disaster or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, if you can run the football, Caleb's still top 5 in play action passing yards this year. So there's still metrics to point to that suggest Caleb's having a pretty good season. But there's meat left on the bone every week. There just is. So you hope that continues to improve.
Some Packers-related news from Pelissero. The Packers designate running back Marshawn Lloyd and defensive end Brenton Cox to return from injured reserve.
Okay.
Just worth noting on the program.
Yeah, Lloyd, I don't know how much of a role he'll have because what's his name?
Emmanuel
that second
Wilson.
back he's been pretty good.
He's really he gives them a nice change of pace, more of kind of a third down scat back. But the one game against the Giants that he had to fill in for Josh Jacobs, he went over 100 yards.
Yeah. So I would guess Lloyd is probably their third back when he returns, but still. Spencer, is it too early to say Ben Johnson is on McVay's level? I mean, he's clearly just less proven as a head coach, but I think schematically, Ben Johnson is an offensive schematic coach, Colin. He is up there with the best. We can power rank him if you want, but just in terms of offensive-minded guys, play design, play calling, Ben Johnson is in the top tier. There is absolutely no question. He had 3 elite offenses in Detroit. He turned one of the worst offensive, not only teams from last year, but franchises historically into a clear top 10 offense.
Yep.
In one overnight.
Right.
He is up there with Shanahan, McVay, Andy Reid. He is as good as it gets from a schematic standpoint. Now, you would not say in a vacuum I would take him over Sean McVay. Sean McVay's won a Super Bowl. He's been a head coach for almost a decade. But
another one.
But just play call. I don't see how you could say without a doubt X, Y, and Z guy are better. He's that good. He's an unbelievable play designer and play caller.
He's on that trajectory. And look, I mean, what McVay just to he immediately turned around Los Angeles with Jared Goff, who at the time was looked at as a potential bust and unplayable under Jeff Fisher. He comes in, they immediately start winning games, and it's just
make the playoffs that first year.
And it's just they're like, who is this guy? And obviously we've seen the success that McVay's had since then. And I think Ben Johnson similarly. I mean, again, knock on wood, the Bears are trending towards potentially making the playoffs. There's a lot of similarities. There really is between Ben Johnson and McVay. Again, to your point, does he have the resume? No, but in terms of how he's kind of conducting himself, the early signs that he showed, I think 100%.
Well, and what he does have, he's got almost 4 straight seasons now. If you combine the last 4 years from him schematically as a play caller, you could argue he's been the best for the last 4 years in the NFL. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
The data suggests. I mean, Detroit's offense last year was historic.
There's honestly a lot of parallels that you could make between the two.
And by the way, look at Detroit this year. Their offense is still really good. It is not the same.
Yeah.
And it's the same, mostly the same personnel. A couple new offensive linemen on the interior, which does matter because Jared Goff versus interior pressure. But David Montgomery not as effective. Jamison Williams has been very kind of hit and miss with his production this year. They are missing Ben Johnson.
They 100%.
There's no question about it. Packers fan 10. Let's go Packer. Get the FGBs in the chat for this guy. We appreciate your donation. FGB, FGB, FGB. Dude, the build up to this game is going to be remarkable. This is going to be an electric week. Charlie, thoughts on DeMarco Jackson over Sewell? That'll be interesting. I mean, DeMarco Jackson, the one thing, Colin, if TJ Edwards comes back, I do think, let's say Edwards and Sewell are both available, I actually think there's a decent chance Jackson would play over Sewell, and here's why. Jackson is more of a weak side linebacker to me. Sewell cannot play weak side. So if you play Sewell and TJ goes back to weak, where he's played the last few years and can certainly do that. But this year he's been playing middle when he's played.
Mm-hmm.
If that's his best position and he's your best linebacker available, I'm playing him in that spot. Like DeMarco Jackson at will versus Noah Sewell at middle, probably pretty similar. Like wherever TJ is most impactful, that's where I want to play him. So in that scenario, I could see Jackson getting the nod over Noah Sewell.
Yeah, and the thing with TJ, though, to your point, is they have the flexibility to do both. So they could 100% go either way with
If they think there's a big gap between Jackson and Sewell at the positions they play, then they would play whoever they like better, and then TJ plugs in at the other spot. But I think they're also probably thinking, okay, when Tremaine's back, TJ at middle, Tremaine at weak. So, like, do you want to play TJ at weak for a couple of weeks and then move him back to middle when Tremaine comes back? He can do it, but do you want him moving around that much? That's the question.
Terry and Arnold placed on injured reserve for the Lions.
Oh, he's hurt again?
On a random note, yeah, Schefter just tweeted it out.
If they lose to Dallas Thursday, I think they're done.
Shoulder injury.
If they lose to Dallas on Thursday, I think they're done, man. Now, they get them at home, but they're in trouble.
They are potentially in trouble.
No question about it. All right, we caught up here.
We are.
Okay, hit that like button.
We got one more we'll throw up here from Austin. Says, got to say, I hate the Packers green and yellow. It irks me.
I can't wait for this game, man. I cannot wait for this game. All right, any guesses on early spread for Cowboys-Lions in Detroit?
In Detroit, ooh.
Thursday Night Football.
Thursday night,
it's a
short
huge
week.
Game.
Detroit -1.5.
Detroit -3.
Okay.
Over under 53.5. So they're basically saying 28-25. Whew. I think I'd take Dallas in the points.
Dude, they're looking good. They're looking good. They really are.
Winner of that game is feeling pretty good. Loser, not so much. Both teams' margin of error. They could probably lose one more game, but that's probably it.
Packers NFC, we showed your super chat, dude.
Yeah, we literally showed it. Or is he just saying?
No, he's been chatting saying, show my super chat.
Dude, we already showed it.
Yeah.
Scroll back like
5 minutes or whatever it was.
Yeah. It's there, trust me.
Yeah, it's there.
We flashed it.
KBBT says, for real, this 25 draft as a whole has been the best the Bears have had since 1983. Loveland, Burden, Trapillo, Turner, Hippolyte, and Monungai.
Hippolyte hasn't done a lot, if we're being honest. But I thought Turner was turning a corner, and with how these other guys have continued to develop, you wonder, like, where he'd be now, like, 6 weeks later. Ozzy's now your starting left tackle is, I think looked solid. Loveland and Burden have clearly come along. Monungai, again, you would say pound for pound the best value pick in the draft right now. Again, I haven't looked at every single seventh-round pick, but
him and Tez Johnson probably are the two best seventh-rounders, right?
Did he go seventh round too?
I believe Tez went 7. Here, I'm double-checking.
Yeah.
I'm almost positive he was.
And Monungai has been much more week-to-week productive than Tez Johnson, but he's done some good things as well.
Tez Johnson, yep, 7th round.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it's, again, like, respect, but
Monungai's been better, no question.
100%.
All right, here's what we got coming up, including more. We'll take more questions, so hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Ben Johnson had his Monday presser, sounded off on a lot of topics that I want to dive into coming up here in a few moments. Mention the mailbag, get those questions in, hashtag Bears or Super Chat. And we're going to take a look at kind of the Bears playoff outlook, kind of discuss how they control their destiny in the NFC, which is it's like hard to believe. Number 1 seed entering December, so the games only get more intense from here. A lot to get into. Thanks for everybody joining us on a Monday. Let's roll. Bears head coach Ben Johnson held his Monday press conference and sounded off on several different topics. I want to hit on them all here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Welcome into the program. And if you love the job Ben Johnson is doing, can we get a thumbs up icon or a click here on this video? Hit that like button. I mean, I don't know. Could you say, if you did a presidential approval rating, what would Ben Johnson's be in Chicago? 100%, 99.9, the 0.1, 0.01, whatever. 0.1, I guess it would be. The Packers fans living in Chicago, which, there's more than a couple because no one wants to live in Green Bay. Hit that like button if you are loving the job Benny J is doing. All right, Ben Johnson sounding off on several topics. He was asked about Caleb Williams' completion percentage, the passing game as a whole, and here's what he had to say. He said, quote, "It's an area we have certainly talked about. We have to be fundamentally correct. The primary receiver, when he's open, we've got to make sure we hit him. And then all of our pass catchers, we just harped on it today, we need to be more disciplined in our route detail. It's not where it needs to be. Our depth's not proper all the time. Our steps isn't. Everyone has a role to play to get this pass game cleaned up. It's not where it needs to be. We're winning in spite of our passing game, not because of it, and none of us are pleased with that." Can I first just give a round of applause to Ben Johnson? Think about this. The Bears are 9-3. The Bears have the number 1 seed in the NFC. It would be easy for him to go up there and be like, yeah, we're still a work in progress, but we're pleased with where we're at. Like, no. Like, the passing game has been very hit and miss, and we need it to be better. Despite all the winning that we're doing, despite just kicking the Eagles' ass, this guy does not let a detail slip. And that is how you earn respect in the locker room, from the fan base, from the media, etc. Yeah, Caleb Williams overall has made strides this year. He's taken a step forward, but he's sub 60% in completion percentage. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. Now, that doesn't mean he's a flop. That doesn't mean he's not a good player and that he still can't be a great player at some point in the NFL. There's a lot of data that suggests he's doing a lot of good things. He's top 5 in play action passing. His TD to interception ratio is better than 3-1. Like, I don't care that his completion percentage is less than last year. He's a much better quarterback this year, just on the eye test from what I've seen this year. And the reason I'm still optimistic about this situation long-term and moving forward is a lot of his misses are footwork and base related. And when I say base, his feet at times get too spread out, and that can lead to overthrows. A good example of a miss just being footwork related from this last game, he had a full left to right read, right, where it started far left, slot left, came all the way back to the right. He read it perfectly. Got to his third read, Rome Odunze in the right corner, front pylon, for what should have been an easy touchdown, and he didn't reset his feet and throw. He was like, oh shit, he's wide open, I got to throw it, and he didn't set his feet, and he short-armed it. Take a split second, reset your base, deliver a strike. That should have been a touchdown. But the reason I'm confident and encouraged by it is the eyes are in the right spot, right? He got to his third progression on that and threw to the right spot. He just missed, right? I would rather have that than a guy that can't get through his progressions, than a guy who's not seeing it well. I actually think he's seeing it really well. He's just misfiring. And so if he gets to the point where he's just delivering more accurate footballs, then you're going to be cooking with gas. Like, I think he's actually grown in a lot of areas that you don't really see when you're watching live command of the offense, which Ben talks about. We'll get to that in a second. Going through progressions, it's just he's missing throws. You're like, you got to hit that one, right? That's the next step for him, is you just got to be more accurate, and a lot of that is footwork based and with his overall base when he's delivering the football. If you're still rocking with Caleb Williams, type the 18s in the chat. I'll ride with this guy right now. I'm not hopping off the bandwagon anytime soon. And by the way, even in games when you're like, I don't feel like he played that well, he's always good for at least one big-time play in a big spot. The Cole Kmet touchdown was a great example of that. Okay, Ben Johnson also saying this when it comes to Caleb. He says, what you don't see is how smooth the operation was on Friday. I thought that was one of the better jobs he's done, getting the play call, getting out of the huddle. He even said later, I screwed up a play call, and he made it right for me. And I think that's been obvious throughout the year. Remember back in week 1 against Minnesota where they couldn't even get plays off the ground after the opening script? False starts, people not lined up properly, the motions being mistimed, all this stuff. It's like, yeah, they don't have command of the offense right now. Caleb, it's a complicated offense. It's not in full sync, which to be expected. Complex offense, first game out of the chute. That stuff's been mostly eliminated. They don't have a lot of pre-snap penalties. They don't look, just kind of lost at the line of scrimmage like they did at times early in the year. He clearly has much better command of the offense than he did a month ago and certainly 2 or 3 months ago. So those type of things I think are really encouraging. Now the next step is like, all right, you have command of the offense. Your eyes are in the right spot. You're getting through your progressions. You just got to deliver accurate footballs more often. That's the next step. All right, Ben Johnson continuing here. He was asked, hey, you thinking playoffs, number 1 seed? You know, the second time he's been asked this. He was asked a few weeks ago, and he had a very similar answer. He said, it doesn't mean anything. There's 5 games left. We've got a long way to go. Again, I just appreciate the focus, the honesty, and I do agree with him where it's like, yeah, they're the number 1 seed, and I still think this team get a lot better. A lot of that is with the missed opportunities in the past game. A lot of that is with the injuries on defense and, hopefully getting some key guys back. The pass rush hasn't been great. Like, there's a lot of areas this football team can still improve on, some of which they can improve on this season. Some, your front four is not going to be dominant. It just is what it is. But the fact that they are the number 1 seed in the NFC right now, human nature is some of those players, even the coaches, they're not naive to this. So there is a little coach speak there, but they've backed it up all year. Ben has been very consistent in his messaging. Like, we got the Packers this week, man. We haven't done anything yet. We haven't clinched a playoff spot. We haven't won the division. We're the number 1 seed right now, but we got 5 games to go. And it's like, it's easy for him to say that. When he said it a few weeks ago, they've won 2 or 3 games since then. They are very focused, and this coaching staff has done a great job of like, hey, be where your feet are. Focus on today. Today, you're starting to game plan for the Packers. Wednesday, first full practice of the week. Sunday, it's the next game, and then you start it all over again. Like, process. That is what this team is focused on, and it's leading to good results. All right, we got more to discuss in just a moment when it came to Ben Johnson's presser earlier today, but I do want to tell you guys about our awesome sponsor. That is Prize Picks, daily fantasy made easy at prizepicks.com/CLNS. It's the holiday season, the best time of year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once, and while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to be, what to eat, which games to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right. That is Prize Picks. I'm done with season-long fantasy. I'm out. I missed the playoffs this year. Too many injuries. Beauty of Prize Picks, different players, different sports. You can cross them over into one single lineup. If I pick a guy and he performs well, I can choose him again in the next lineup. If he sucks, I can try someone else. And that's why I like daily fantasy. That's why I love Prize Picks. You pick 2 or more players and take more or less on their stat projections to qualify for a lineup, and you are good to go. Little 3-player lineup for tonight's game. I got Jackson Dart, more than half a passing touchdown. That's a goblin play. Took more on Stephon Diggs. Half a touchdown as well, receiving or rushing. Just has to find the end zone. That's a demon play, so those kind of cancel each other out. Demons are tougher to hit than goblins. And then Travion Henderson, just a standard, more or less half a touchdown. He's been scoring a lot of touchdowns. I like them more there. $20 entry to win $80. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Okay, Ben was also asked about the first Bears-Packers game he's been a part of, just the rivalry as a whole. And he said this, quote, "It's a big week. We know how important this rivalry is. It's one of those that lives in NFL history." And yeah, and unfortunately for the last, 15 years, whatever, even longer really, the Packers have owned the Bears. It's just a reality. And that's why in Week 18, when Packers fans are like, oh, it doesn't matter, Bears fans, this was their Super Bowl to win 5-12. Yeah, it was last year. It was the Bears Super Bowl. They were 4-12. They lost 10 in a row. They hadn't beaten the Packers since 2018. So yeah, forgive us for celebrating that win. It had been a miserable season and a miserable stretch without beating the Packers. And now, for the first time in a while, both are really good at the same time, and they play each other twice in 3 weeks. And don't forget, Ben Johnson stoked the flames on this in his introductory press conference. He said when he took the job at Halason, that first presser, he said, quote, "I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year." And he took some flack for that. Like, hey, man, do you know the recent history of this rivalry? It has not been good. He's backed it up with how this team has played this year. We'll see if he can back it up on Sunday and obviously again at Soldier Field in Week 16. Get your popcorn ready. Ben Johnson set the expectations, and he's backed it up, and now it's time to deliver on this game. Because, don't get me wrong, if the Bears got swept by Green Bay and still made the playoffs, this would be a hell of a season regardless. But, like, you want to make it even more special, go beat Green Bay at least once, if not twice, over the next 3 weeks. Cole Kmet was asked about this rivalry as well. He's obviously one of the longest tenured Bears, and he's from Chicago. He said, this is a game I look forward to every year growing up in Chicago. It's a game I watch year in and year out. My best friend who was in my wedding is a Packer fan. He still won't wear my jersey unless he is out of the country. That's a funny story, by the way. Cole's sister's boyfriend is Lucas Van Ness. He plays for the Packers. There's a lot to it. Obviously, the history, 2 charter franchises, all of that. There's going to be a lot of juice in this game. There's a reason Fox flexed it to the 325 window. I would imagine this is one of Fox's most watched games of the year. I mean, I would guess it's in the top 5. Bears, Packers, Lambeau Field, number 1 seed, number 1 team in the North on the line, potentially number 1 seed in the NFC on the line, especially if the Bears win it, they would stay on top. This is a massive, massive game. It always is, but even more so because the Bears they're doing their part for the first time in a while. Predict the score, Bears, Packers, who you got? Let me know who wins and what the final score is going to be of this awesome matchup. Okay, lastly, he had to get asked about him going shirtless in the locker room in that viral moment. Obviously, we all know the Wiener Circle story where they put out several weeks ago, hey, if Ben Johnson ever does good, better, best shirtless, we'll do free hot dogs again, just like they did for the Caleb Williams 4-touchdown game. Here's what Ben had to say on this quote. He said, my 2-year-old was watching the TV screen back at home, and she was looking at the TV and saying, no shirt, while pointing to the screen. My wife had no idea what was going on. I think any chance you get to feed a city, you do it. Man of the people. I just love this guy leaning into it, right? And a lot of people online were like, this is cheesy, whatever. And look, if the Wiener Circle thing wasn't out there, it would kind of be cheesy, right? It's like, all right, you're the coach, but like, he knew about it. They asked him about it weeks ago when it happened. Huge win on the road. Perfect time to pull that out, right? Especially the day after Thanksgiving. It's the time of the year where you're giving. People are donating to homeless shelters, charities, food banks, all that stuff. He said in his speech, like, hey, I know you guys are hungry for more. The city of Chicago is hungry too. Like, you love that stuff, right? And I love that he leaned into it and calculated, right? Like, it wasn't just like, McAfee on College Game Day. I got to rip my shirt off every week. It's like, hey, yeah, the guys are vibing. Good time to do it. Hey, free hot dogs for the city. I mean, this guy's approval rating in the city of Chicago. Is there a person that lives in that city that is more popular than Ben Johnson right now? I don't see how anyone could be. I mean, maybe Connor Bedard with the Blackhawks, but hockey's not as big as football. When the Bears are winning, it's a Bears town. Like that, I guess you could say like Michael Jordan, but he doesn't live there anymore, all that stuff. So, yeah, it's this guy has galvanized the team in the city overnight. It is just whatever the expectations were, how high they were, and they were high for me, he's blown me away. He has been absolutely remarkable for this team and for this city. All right, appreciate everybody for making it to the end of this episode. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications if you want free and daily Bears content. Remember, we have a subscriber battle going on with our Packers channel, so let's take those guys down. Bear down. All right, we got a mailbag coming up. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. Get those questions in.
Decker and Jose, your Super Chats will go into that mailbag, so don't think we didn't forget about you guys, so you'll be included. Also, shout out to Jacob Green, the newest Bears fan in the chat. Saw you guys were interacting with him, so let's get an FGB chant going for our guy Jacob Green.
Let's see, Jacob Green.
I don't know. He seems to be talking a lot about the Bears, so get the FGBs down below for our guy Jacob Green.
All right, let's go.
Let's go.
I grew up with a guy named Jacob Green. Is this the Jacob Green?
Be pretty hilarious if it was.
I haven't talked to Jacob Green in a while. I'm guessing it's not, but he's a Packers fan.
I mean, I'm pretty sure, based on what the chat's saying, he's a new Bears fan. He's seen the light.
What's his username?
Jacob Green, and there's some numbers after it.
Okay. All right.
Just want to make him feel welcome, right?
All right. Welcome aboard, man. Maybe he converted.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe he did.
All right. Have any of the super chats that have come in, are they not mailbag centric?
Let's see.
Or if they are, we'll just save them for the mailbag. They don't have to be perfect. If they're decent, we can just throw them in there.
Let's see. Oh, here we can show one of these. Yeah, I can show a couple.
Oh, the Broncos worked out Elijah Moore.
All
right. Lions worked out Russell Gage. Okay, Decker, my guy Decker. This game is the game, in my opinion. Not so much for the standings. Yes, it's important, but it's a chance to stand up to their biggest rival, punch them right in the mouth. I love this atmosphere. Bear effing down. Yeah, and this first one's big too, Colin, because if you can get it on the road, then again, what happens that next week? Bears come home to play the Browns. Packers, I think, go to Denver. Is that game in Denver?
Say that again. The game against Denver.
Yeah, they go to Denver. So if
Yes.
you beat them on the road this week, they go to Denver where they're probably a slight underdog. The Bears come home where they'll be a relatively healthy favorite against Cleveland. I mean, there's a chance you could kind of gain 2 games here. And then it's like the Packers, it's a must-win at Soldier Field. Otherwise, they're out for the division. Not for the whole playoffs. But if you can get this first one, you have a huge opportunity to separate. Huge opportunity to separate.
Dub Bear says, when is the show going to broadcast live at the game? Oh, at the game. I was going to say, well, for the game, we'll be alive.
You want to rent a suite for me? I'd like to think we're relatively big, but I don't know if we're renting out a suite at Soldier Field big yet.
Not quite. We're on our way.
Get Kevin Warren on the phone. We'll work something out. Get that stadium. New stadium by then. Will be big enough by then? Who knows?
Who knows?
I'm living in the moment. Isaac Siegel, Bears 24, Packers 20. Appreciate the donation from both you guys. Wyatt will be an immense loss for the Packers. I do think Devontae Wyatt being injured is a big deal. Bears will pound it right up the middle and suck in Parsons, hopefully in play action. Yeah, if you can get the run game going in this game and kind of just wear those guys down and then hit a few play action, big chunk plays off of it, I think Bears have a really good chance to win this game. Really good chance. If they continue to run the ball well, that just opens up everything. KBBT.
No, this is one. Ahmad.
Sorry, Ahmad. Still waiting on a wide receiver to bail Caleb out on a bad throw. Yeah, I do think, and I'm glad Ben mentioned that too, that the route details have been off, because there have been a few misses. Like the overthrow to Rome on just the out route last week, I'm like, that miss was so bad, it makes me wonder if the depth of the route was incorrect. Like sometimes when there's a miss, you're just like, it almost feels like there's something more to that. And I think it's easy, like the average fan, right? And I'm not saying like, me, whoever, the average person watching a game, when a throw is missed, immediately you blame the quarterback. And in most cases, that's probably the case. But like Ben today is flat out saying the details on the routes aren't good enough. So like, maybe he's taken some of the pressure off Caleb, but that's not really how he's been. He's been pretty blunt. He's like, I don't know. Like I think it's a combination of things with Caleb and the receivers right now. So hopefully that gets back in sync, because I felt like they were starting to hit their stride there. And then the last couple of weeks, there's been some misfires, maybe some miscoms. So we'll see. The good news is they can lean on that running game and hopefully hit those chunks off of it.
Ahmad said, like last night, receivers are just making crazy catches. I'm assuming meaning the Broncos Commanders.
Yeah, sometimes, I agree. Like sometimes, Rome Odunze, you're a top 10 pick. DJ Moore, you're making $28 million. Like, ball's not going to be perfect every time, especially when it's 25 degrees and blowing 30. Like, you got to make a play. Like I'm watching the Vikings game yesterday, and Brosmer threw a ball behind Jefferson where he's running an out and it's a little behind him, but it's not like it's full extension. It's like, bro, that's a UDFA and you're making $35 million per year. I need you to make a play.
Yep.
I need you to make a play. I'm sorry. Like, sometimes you just got to make a play. And, I think, I will say, I don't think the story of that Eagles game was they You know, it wasn't like the Giants game where they dropped 7 balls
Right.
or whatever. But I do think there are times where it's like, hey, man, like, can you make that play for me?
Right.
Like, you know, you make that play for me, I'm going to give you more opportunities type deal. So, you know, it's a team effort. Cash, appreciate the 2.
Also sends another 2
how
cents.
is this team different from 2018? Well, the main difference is they're much better on offense. Now they're not as good on defense, even though they lead the NFL in takeaways. The main difference is they're more offensive oriented. So, you know.
Yeah, the
vibes are similar in terms of like you feel good, you're confident in them week in and week out, but I think it's a better coaching staff, and they're clearly just a better offense. That was the best offense of the Nagy era, but it was not nearly as good as this offense. So that's the main difference. All right, any other super chats left over? We'll get to them in this mailbag. If you have any more, fire away. We'll get some hashtag Bears questions rolling as well. Mailbag time coming up here on Chicago Bears Now. I'm Harrison Graham. Let's hop into a Chicago Bears Now mailbag. First place Bears. It's got a good ring to it. Hashtag Bears says the conversation changed around Ryan Poles with player development and the moves he made this offseason. Well, you know, I've seen a lot on social media about, you know, maybe Ryan Poles deserves more credit. And look, when you win, you get credit. When you lose, you don't, right? That's kind of just how it works. But there's been some tangible things he's done that have clearly led to success. Number one was hiring Ben Johnson. Now, that's like the easiest decision he'll ever make. But you still get credit. You convinced him to come, right? Like Ben Johnson had enough juice and enough leverage where he could have gone to ownership, to Kevin Warren, and been like, I'm down to come to Chicago, but I want my own GM. Now, the Bears might have said no to that, but he could have done that. And he said, no, I want to work with Ryan. I like some of the pieces here. Let's work hand in hand. Clearly, I think Ben has more juice in the organization than Ryan. But listen, you get some credit there for hiring Ben Johnson. You rebuilt the offensive line. Again, I think Ben had influence, but still, you trade a 6th-round pick for Jonah Jackson. He's been a top 10 guard in the NFL. You trade a 4th for Joe Thuney. You know, again, the Thuney one, that's a pretty easy trigger to pull, but you still did it, and you got good value on it, and it's paid off, and you got a pretty team-friendly extension on that one. And the draft class is starting to show promise. You know, early on, it's like, oh, I don't know. Colson Loveland's a big-time player. Like the stats may not be, but he's a big-time player. He's been blocking well. He's a mismatch as a receiving option. Luther Burden's very explosive. Kyle Monungai in the 7th round. Ozzie Trapillo's now starting at left tackle. Like you're getting a lot of contributions there. Luke Newman as a 6th-round pick came in a couple weeks ago and played pretty well for half a game when Jonah Jackson had to step out. So yeah, like it's been a good year for Ryan. It's been a good year for Ryan Poles. Now, you know, that doesn't mean all of a sudden like his 4-year track record is superb, but you know, that trade with Carolina's started to age even better, right? Like a lot of the pieces you got in that deal, you know, the development you've seen under this new staff, you know, Darnell Wright has been a better player than Jalen Carter this year. I'm not saying that'll be the case moving forward, but this year he has. So, yeah, I think if you're Ryan Poles, you're sleeping a lot better at night than you were this time last year. How happy are you with Ryan Poles currently? You know, approval rating, scale of 1 to 100, certainly a passing grade. And listen, you know, as long as Ben is here, you feel comfortable enough. Ben's going to have a lot of say in a lot of these decisions. And, you know, I trust his football mind there. And I think in collaboration, they can do some good things. So I'd probably put it somewhere in the, you know, mid-high 70s. Like it's certainly a passing grade right now. And, you know, this time last year in the offseason, it was like, do you just fire this guy? But hey, things have turned a corner here. All right, Jose, appreciate the super chat. Who is the X factor in a potential Super Bowl run? FGB. You know, X factor is always like things you wouldn't like, not necessarily like your headliners. Like you would just say like the running game, but that's not an X factor. That's like you're gonna do that. I don't know. Is it like Jalen Johnson? Weirdly enough, like he kind of eased back into that last game. Like, can he be a shutdown guy in the playoffs? You know, we'll see. You know, he got beat a couple times. I don't think he's quite tip-top Jalen Johnson right now, but by the time the playoffs get here, can he get back to that level? Who knows? You know, soft tissue stuff, surgery, you know, you just don't know. I think he could be an X factor. Could one of those could like a Trevon Dexter be an X factor? Like, could he just get hot in the playoffs and have multiple sacks or something like that? So there's some random guys you could point to. Like, I think if Jalen can get back to being a true CB1, like, you're feeling pretty good about the secondary. I mean, you got Kevin Byard, who's balling. N'Shawn Wright, if Tyreek Stevenson's playing, he's been more good than bad this year. CJ Gardner-Johnson, I think he's an X factor, potentially, just kind of a Swiss Army knife. Kyler Gordon. So those are a few guys I would point to. Everyday barbecue and cooking. Imagine if we had a legit pass rusher. Yeah, and that's why, we've kind of had those talks like, okay, is that like the big swing you make this offseason? Like, would you just take a swing at Max Crosby if he became available? Like, this is clearly our top need. We get this. We have no roster weaknesses. Do you just go do it? Something you'd think about. Something you'd think about very, very hard. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Guys, new FGB gear. Chatsports.com. This is the new shirt /FGB shirt. Now, we have a link that just goes to both this and the hoodie, which is chatsports.com/FGB. But if you want to go to the hoodie link specifically, chatsports.com/FGB hoodie, look at that thing. I mean, that is a sick looking hoodie. I told you guys we're up in the merch game. We got a new design with the FGB gear, the shirts, the hoodie. Spam FGB in the chat. Get your gear today. Links in the comments, in the live chat if you're watching live. Chatsports.com/FGB. If you want to go specifically to the shirt or to the hoodie, it's /FGB shirt or /FGB hoodie. Click and shop today. Take advantage. Okay, Mike Zero Source. The Bears are divine intervention. I made a joke that since the new Pope is from Chicago, the Bears have a prayer. Now the Bears are 9-3. There's a lot of like TikTok talk about the Pope being the reason the Bears are 9-3. Listen, is he the sister Jean of the Bears? Loyola Chicago, also in Chicago. Whatever it is, I'll take it. I mean, it's the Bears need everything they can get right now. So yeah, shout out to the Pope, baby. Bear down. All right, Fago95, how do we think Trapillo will stack against Parsons? Are we worried? That's clearly a matchup to watch, right? If I'm Ben Johnson, I am trying – I want Ozzie Trapillo to be one-on-one against Micah Parsons as little as possible. Single-digit times would be my goal. I think you'll see a lot of 12 personnel, some 13 personnel, chipping with the backs. There will probably be a select few plays where they ask Ozzie to block one-on-one there, and he's got to win his fair share. He's going to get beat a few times by Micah. When he does, can Caleb avoid the disastrous play? I would not consider a sack a disastrous play. What you need to avoid, the strip sack, hit the arm as you throw, all that stuff. So we'll see if Ozzie can hold up. I would imagine Ben Johnson has a specific game plan to try and avoid those situations as often as possible. Subscribe to the channel if you want free and daily Bears content. We go live every single Monday, Thursday, and game day. 3:25 game, we'll probably go live at 2. We're going to be rocking and rolling here on Sunday, but we'll have daily content leading up to the game. We're doing our weekly subscriber battle with our Packers channel. Mailbags every live show as well, just like this one, so go ahead and subscribe. All right, Prometheus, will Ben Johnson win Coach of the Year? To me, it's him or Mike Vrabel. I don't know how you argue against Ben Johnson if he wins the NFC North. Because that's the one thing, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to downplay Vrabel. I think he's done an incredible job. And, he probably had less talent on the roster to work with when he took the job compared to Ben. But I do think the AFC East is easier than the NFC North, especially considering Buffalo's clearly taken some level of a step back. That roster as a whole isn't as good. But it's still really impressive, especially if they sweep the Bills and win that division. But I think winning the NFC North is more impressive. I just do. So, if he doesn't win it, he'll probably get second. Either way, he's done a hell of a job. Eddie Jackson, if all Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson are full go with N'Shawn Wright and CJ Gardner-Johnson, who are the odd men out? Well, and I know Jalen and Kyler were on pitch counts, but I think they tipped their hand a little bit this week with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He played 100% of the snaps. I don't think they want him coming off the field. Now, maybe it's like 10% of those go to Kyler, and they get Kyler on the field in other packages at times as well. But I would guess in a vacuum, Kyler or C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the rest of the way, I would guess C.J. Gardner-Johnson outsnaps him until proven otherwise. And I don't think Nahshon Wright's coming off the field at outside corner. So do you stagger Tyreek and Jalen as Jalen continues to ramp up? Again, do you like give Nahshon Wright one drive off a game or something like that? I mean, I think Dennis Allen will continue to mix and match, but Nahshon Wright, he's making plays every week. I know he gets beat some, but when he's forcing takeaways, that's hard to argue against. So we'll see what they do. It's a good problem to have, but it'll be interesting to navigate as they go here. Packers Hate Week continues. Get the FGBs down in the chat. You know what to do. And again, chatsports.com/FGB. Get your gear today. Eddie Zuniga, even if we win the majority of our last 5 games, how realistic is Super Bowl contention with our defense? Well, if you get healthy, I think it's at least on the table. If Tremaine and TJ are back and the secondary has most of its pieces available, the back seven's elite. Now, is the defensive line good enough? That's the question. Is the defensive line good enough? We'll see. Montez is going to need to play well in the playoffs, probably. They need Grady Jarrett and Javon Dexter to play well. I think Jarrett's been pretty good the last few weeks. That knee is healthy. He looks better. Can Austin Booker make a splash play here and there? He's been a little quiet the last couple games. I actually saw Joe Tryon-Shoyinka's pass rush win rate last game was 19%, so maybe he continues to get some opportunities. He's actually pretty good against the run, too. Look, and I'll just add on top of all of it, who is the most dominant team in the NFL right now? Last week I would have said the Rams, and I still think they're the most complete team in the NFC. They just lost to Carolina. My point is, this is one of those years in the NFL where it does truly feel like, I don't know, there's 6, 8, 9 teams that could end up in the Super Bowl. I think at this exact moment, the Bears are one of those teams. And the fact that we're saying that is pretty remarkable. So I don't know what a percentage of it is. Is it 10%? I mean, 10% is still pretty high. There's a chance. That's the point. All right, more super chats. Appreciate you, Chris. Is there a possibility the Bears dominate Green Bay Sunday? I mean, that would be a stretch, but they dominated the Eagles on the road. Now, I think the Packers are a better team than the Eagles right now, even though the Eagles beat them a few weeks ago. But, sure. I wouldn't predict they dominate. I think this will be a good football game. I think this will be one of those, this comes down to the last 5 or 6 minutes, whereas the Eagles game shockingly didn't. So that would be my guess. I think it'll be a good ball game. That's why I got Bears 26-24. Give me a follow on social media. It's at HGramNFL. Got to catch up on some questions over the weekend following the Eagles game. Spent time with family, a holiday weekend, all that stuff. But I will do that, and any new questions that come in, I will catch up on those as well. Bear down. America First, feel bad for doubting Caleb. He does need to get better, but I'll ride or die with Caleb Williams. That's our quarterback. Yeah, there's nothing I would say that I've seen that would be like, oh, it's like panic time or anything. He's making winning plays. He doesn't put the ball in jeopardy that often. Even the interception, it's like the screenplay. The guy tips it to himself and picks it off. It's like I would put that in the category of unlucky interceptions. So I still think there's more good than bad there, but there's clearly like opportunities still on the table there. So hopefully he hits more of those. We got Eddie here. Eddie just got off work, probably asked this question all day. What do the Bears have to do to believe Super Bowl? I think you can at least believe now, Colin. Now, I'll continue to say this. I don't think your expectations should be Super Bowl. But I think the NFL is open enough right now, like, dream big, man. Why not? The Bears just punked the defending champs, and it wasn't that close, right? If they go beat the Packers, why can't they win playoff games? Now, they could lose in the first round because that's how nip and tuck the NFC is. But I don't see why you couldn't dream. The Chiefs and Mahomes may not make the playoffs in the AFC. Baltimore and Lamar may not make the playoffs. The Lions may not make the playoffs. This is not it had kind of become a juggernaut sport. This year, it's kind of up for grabs. I mean, right now, the top 2 teams in the AFC are Denver and New England.
Led by same second-year quarterbacks as Caleb Williams, right?
Yeah. And look,
and
Drake's been unreal this year. But, like, it'll still be his first playoff game.
Exactly.
They got O-line injuries right now.
Bo Nix would be his second.
Bo Nix, second year. He's been very up and down this year. Their defense is awesome, but, like, do they have enough like, my point is like, it's up for grabs, man. Like, the Bears are in the conversation. They are absolutely in the conversation.
We talked about it towards the end of the game. I think you had went to the restroom or something, like, by default, right? And you just kind of went over it. In the NFC, the Rams, especially after the loss to Carolina, there is no dominant team where it's like, all right, the Bears have no shot to beat X, right? So from that aspect alone, and we're about to get into a subject where the Bears actually do control their own destiny. We'll obviously see how they finish, but there is a world, again, as we're sitting here right now today, they are the number 1 seed in the NFC. If they were to somehow finish the season as the number 1 seed in the NFC, there's 100% a chance that...
Even if they're like the 2 or 3 or the 5, it's like...
No, yeah.
It's not inconceivable. And again, I'll continue to say it. They are built for the elements. They can run the football. Their quarterback is mobile. He's got a big arm to throw the ball in wind. Obviously, he's going to miss throws. He's not the most accurate quarterback. But, like, this isn't a Tua situation where when the Dolphins go to Kansas City a few years ago and it's 0 degrees, you're like, the game's over before it starts. They will have a chance in any climate that they play in the postseason. So that stuff is really important. And, I just we got to stop. We shouldn't doubt this team anymore, is what I'm saying. I'm not picking them to win the Super Bowl today, but if you told me they got there, I don't think you could say it would be stunning anymore. It would still be relatively surprising. It's surprising if any team other than, like, the Chiefs make the Super Bowl because they've gone to it so many freaking times the last 7 years. But, like, the level of surprise 6 weeks ago compared to now has dropped significantly if that were to happen. So, Tito, notice how wherever Tooney goes, teams are great. He's the X factor. He's been to, 4 Super Bowls. He's won 2 or 3. I mean, he's kind of a silent assassin. Doesn't say much, but I don't think you could, and I said this when they got him, forget the play, which we know is stout. He is going to make this offensive line so much better just by being in the room. Like, he is going to, and I think that's clearly played out. I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence. Darnell Wright, best year of his career. Drew Dahlman, probably the best year of his career. Jonah Jackson, who felt like a lost player last year, he's back now. It's like, Joe Tooney's kind of really freaking good at his job. He's a leader, even though he's not the most vocal guy. And he might be, Colin, one of the most technically sound guards in NFL history because he's not that imposing. Like, if you saw this guy at a YMCA playing pickup hoops, you'd be like, okay, he's big, but, like, you wouldn't say, oh, yeah, that guy was an all-pro in the NFL. Like, this isn't Mekhi Becton playing guard, who's just a physical specimen. He's like 6'3", 305, just kind of looks like your average, like if you averaged out the stats or height weight measurables of backup offensive guards in the NFL, he's probably, like, right in there. And he's one of the best to ever do it. Like, he is. I go back to that Hard Knocks clip from this year when the Bills and the Bears had joint practice, and Ed Oliver is, like, basically like, how are you doing this? He's just because, like, Ed Oliver is like this 6'5" just specimen, and Joe Tooney's just locking him up because his technique is as good as it gets. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to Jason Kelce, right? One of the greatest centers, especially of our generation. He wasn't the biggest, most imposing guy in the world.
I think he was like 290 at the combine or something.
Yeah, and I mean, he's one of those guys that learned, technique, leverage, and angles and all how, there's more of a mental side of the game too. Joe Tooney's kind of in that similar mold. And look, I mean, it's one of those things where you knew the player you were getting with Joe Tooney, and again, you could talk about the guy in terms of the play itself and all that. Him as a leader, especially as we get into these final weeks of the regular season, potentially into the postseason. He's already valuable now. He's only going to continue to get more valuable the longer the season goes for the Bears. So you can't say enough good things about Joe Thuney. No doubt about it.
By the way, it sounds like Penn State's hiring Satake. You Big Ten college football fans, BYU head coach Kalani Satake. It sounds like that's happening at Penn State. Not official, but
interesting.
That is heating up.
Very interesting. All right, we're gonna get into our final segment here. As Harry's just kind of firing off some tweets, probably. The Bears, at this current moment, they control their destiny in the NFC. Obviously, as the number 1 overall seed. Harry's about to do a deep dive into other teams that could be contenders in the NFC and where the Bears kind of stack up. So I think it's going to be a really cool segment.
Bears control their destiny. Who would have thought that entering December? What's the meme? Who would have thought? Not us. Not us. All right, let's get into it. Bears now are rolling along. The Chicago Bears control their destiny in the NFC. Not in the NFC North. The NFC as a whole, which obviously includes the NFC North. We'll kind of take a look at the playoff picture and outlook for the Bears with 5 weeks left to go coming up next. I'm Harrison Graham. This is Chicago Bears Now. As the month of December has arrived, the Chicago Bears are on top of the NFC, and they control their destiny to the number 1 seed in the NFC from here on out. We're going to break down kind of all the scenarios, compare some schedules with other teams in the mix in the NFC, but let's just take a look at the playoff picture right now. We'll outline how the Bears already have the tiebreaker over the Rams and even the Seahawks if they're leading the NFC West, and why they control their own destiny over those teams, plus teams like the 49ers, who they still have head-to-head game with, obviously the Packers, who they have a couple of head-to-head games with, and then we'll kind of peep on those other NFC teams as well. For the Bears, 5 games left. At the Packers, Browns at home, Packers at home, at the 49ers, Lions at home. Not exactly easy, right? I mean, that Browns game at home you should certainly get. But, Myles Garrett can just wreck a game, and you never know. And those other games are going to be tough. But I think the Bears have proven at this point, even their tough matchups, we just saw them kick Philly's ass, they're going to have chances in those games. Before we kind of dive into this here, fill in the blank for us. The Bears will get the number blank seed in the NFC. Right now they have number 1. Will they stay number 1? Will they be the 2 seed, the 5 seed, the 7? Do you still think they'll miss the playoffs? I know a few people are still skeptical. Let me know down in the comments section. All right, the Bears control their own destiny over all teams, including the Los Angeles Rams. I thought Sam Phelan had a good breakdown here of comparing the Bears and the Rams. He had this note. He says, it's mathematically impossible for the Rams to get the tiebreaker over Chicago. And what that means is if they end up with the same record, the Bears would have the tiebreaker. And the reason is it's determined by conference record. And Chicago is currently 6-2 against the NFC with 4 to go. Los Angeles is 4-3 with 5 to go. So any mathematical equation, if the Bears go 4-1, 2-3, 3-2, whatever, if they end up tied with the Rams with the same record, they own the tiebreaker. So as long as Chicago has the same amount of wins and losses as the Rams do, they will finish ahead of the Rams, which is what it currently sits at right now. And you look at the Rams' remaining schedule, I would say theirs is a little bit easier than the Bears, right? You have Arizona twice. I mean, at minimum, you're getting one of those. You're probably winning both, if we're being completely honest. Lions at home, that's probably going to be a spot if we want the number 1 seed where we want Detroit to win that game. Certainly at Seattle, that's a coin flip in terms of who benefits the Bears more because Seattle only has 3 losses too. We'll get to them in a second. At Atlanta, big Falcons fans in that game certainly, and the Cardinals. So Falcons and Cardinals specifically, we would love can just out of those 3 games, can one of those games be a loss for the Rams? That would be huge for the Bears. I would say their schedule's a little easier the rest of the way, although obviously the Lions and Seahawks will be difficult. Speaking of the Seahawks, the Bears also control their own destiny over Seattle just by the simple fact that the Bears currently have 2 losses in the conference. The Seahawks have 3. You look at Seattle's remaining schedule, not exactly murderer's row, right? I mean, at Atlanta this week kind of feels like they're done. After losing to the Jets last week. Colts at home, they are reeling. If that was in Indy, that's probably more of a toss-up, but at home, I like Seattle in that spot. We'll certainly be rooting for Indy here. Sorry, producer Cullen. Rams at home, Thursday Night Football. That'll be a fun game. At the Panthers and then at the 49ers. As well. San Francisco, by the way, we'll get to them in a bit. They're only a half game back in the West all of a sudden, so that is a 3-team race, whereas the North has become more of a 2-team race. But again, to revisit the Rams and the Seahawks, the Bears are 6-2 in the conference. Both Seattle and Los Angeles have 3 losses in the conference. Now, I don't know if the mathematical scenarios, if the Bears and Seahawks finish with the same record, if Chicago is guaranteed to have that tiebreaker like they will do with the Rams, but simple control destiny. If the Bears went out and the Seahawks went out and they both only have 3 losses, the Bears will have it because they have 1 less loss in conference currently. Okay, the Green Bay Packers. The simple fact here is just because you play them twice, right? So, you win both of those, you control your destiny, you're going to finish ahead of Green Bay. The other Packers games remaining, other than the 2 ones with the Bears, Broncos in between. And these next 3 weeks for this Bears-Packers deal, you play each other twice, but big advantage Bears. The Bears play the Browns at home in between. Green Bay goes to Denver in between. You got to take advantage of that, either on the front end or on the back end. Back end is going to be a better opportunity to do so because that's going to be a physical game in Denver against that defense. Short week, Green Bay's got to fly back home and play the Bears at Soldier Field. So that's really where you got to take advantage. That's why this week, if you somehow won at Lambeau, you're feeling pretty good about your chances in that rematch in Week 16. Green Bay still has to play Baltimore at home. At Minnesota, you would think, by then, who knows what Minnesota's record even is. That would be big advantage Bears. But these next 4 weeks for Green Bay, not exactly easy. And obviously, the head-to-head games are just massive, right? You have to at least split. You have to at least split if you are Chicago, if you're going to win the North, and if certainly you're going to win the NFC in the regular season. So, but the Bears are currently ahead of the Packers, and they play them twice. You win both times, that's how you control your destiny. Okay, if you hate the Packers, it's Packers Hate Week. Get the FGB chants going down in the comments section below, and I want to see it all week long. Social media, comment section, DM it to me on social. Let's get the FGBs rolling. All right, we love Prize Picks. We appreciate Prize Picks. They are sponsoring today's show, best daily fantasy sports app that exists. The holiday season is here. It's the best time for sports, bowl games around the corner, basketball, hockey games, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which games to watch, there is one place where it feels good to be right. That is Prize Picks. Cool new feature on Prize Picks. They now have early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. 2 or more players take more or less in their stat projections. That qualifies for a lineup, and how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose the flex play option, where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want bigger payouts, go for the power play. No matter how you play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. Little 2-player lineup I like for this weekend. I think DeAndre Swift finds the end zone. I think Ben Johnson's going to run the rock a lot. And Swift has had some big games against the Packers. Remember last year when he left Xavier McKinney in the dust at Soldier Field? He's played well against Green Bay, so I like him to score. That's a demon pick. And then Jordan Love, I took less on his passing yards. The high in Green Bay on Sunday is 15 degrees. That means with wind chill, single digits, slight chance at negative temperatures. These teams are going to want to run the football, so I'm going less on that one. $20 lineup to win $80 with the demon play in there. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. All right. The San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, they're a half game back of the Bears based on win-loss. I think they actually only have 2 NFC losses as well. So if San Francisco were to beat the Bears and win the NFC West, they could get back into a position to even get the 1 seed themselves. And look, they're in a good spot. I got to be honest. And they've had a lot of injuries, and I give Shanahan and Saleh and that crew a lot of credit. Bye week this week. They've got the Week 14 bye. Then coming out of the bye, soft landing spot. Tennessee at home. I mean, shit. You could you could load manage that game if you wanted to. At the Colts Monday night. It's on the road, but it'll be good weather conditions. That's good for Brock Purdy. Extra day there to get ready. I mean, honestly, they might do some Colts prep to overlap with Tennessee, if we're being honest. Then they get the Bears Sunday Night Football, and then finish with the Seahawks. So I expect San Francisco to win those first 2 games. And then that Bears-49ers game. What's funny about this game, that felt like a game, okay, the winner of that game gets the 6 or 7 seed a few weeks ago. Is that game potentially for the number 1 seed? That's not impossible. If the Niners win out 13-4, pretty good chance they're the 1 seed. Like, that is very much on the table for San Francisco, but the Bears do control their destiny over them. Again, because they play them head-to-head, and the Niners already have 4 losses overall. The Bears only have 3, so it's simple. You went out, you beat the Niners. Doesn't matter what else they do. They cannot surpass you. And then the Philadelphia Eagles, pretty simple, right? You already beat them head-to-head. They have 4 losses. You have 3 losses. You look at Philly's remaining schedule. Not murderer's row. At the Chargers, you may not have to face Justin Herbert, who had left-hand surgery. But it's Monday Night Football extra day. We'll see if he plays. You get the Raiders at home. You would think they would win that game, even though they're teetering. Commanders twice. You would think they at least split. And then at the Bills. So the Eagles are not in a great spot just in terms of how they're playing, but their schedule's not that tough. I mean, at Buffalo's their toughest game, but they've been week to week in terms of how they've played. But the Bears are in good shape here because they're a full game ahead, but really 2 because the Bears have the head-to-head. So, the Bears would have to go like 2-3, and the Eagles would have to go 4-1 for Philadelphia to surpass them. And, I don't view the Eagles as a team that's going to win 4 or all 5 of their remaining games. I would guess 3-2 is probably more likely. All right, subscribe to the channel. If you're a diehard Bears fan, we're here every single day. At least 2 videos per day on the channel. We do shorts as well, and we go live every Monday, Thursday, and game day. So we're not leaving anything on the table. If news comes out, we're covering it and a whole lot more. So subscribe today. It is free. Okay, you look back at the playoff picture. We've kind of analyzed the teams with 4 losses or less, right? The Rams and Seahawks also 9-3. The Eagles 8-4. Niners 9-4. Packers 8-3-1. Let's just take a look at the other teams, still in the hunt. Atlanta, Minnesota, Washington, and then the teams already eliminated. They're done, obviously. But the NFC South, you got Tampa at 7-5. If they were to run the table, maybe they enter the mix to, probably not get the 1 seed, but maybe the 2 or 3, which could impact the Bears. And this is a pretty easy schedule. I know the Bucs have not been playing well, but they get the Saints at home. They get the Falcons at home on a short week. That's big advantage for the home team. They play the Panthers twice. Carolina's kind of Jekyll and Hyde. They look terrible in primetime against the 49ers. Then they beat the Rams. So which Panthers do we get? Who knows? At Dolphins, they've been playing better as of late. I'll give Mike McDaniel credit. That team has not bailed on him in terms of the players. But then they play the Panthers again. Like, if Carolina plays B-minus football, they're winning 3 or 4 of their final 5 games and maybe all 5. So, I think they win that division. I don't view them as a threat for the 1 seed, but we'll see. Lions at 7-5. We'll talk about this Cowboys game in a second. That's obviously huge. Then they go to the Rams. Steelers at home. They're teetering, but you never know. Vintage Rodgers' performance could be on the board. You never know. At Minnesota, that's relatively easy, but then at the Bears. But these next 2 weeks for Detroit, at minimum, they got to split, but they may have to win both if they want to be a playoff team. So this is a big stretch for the Lions. The Cowboys, who are red hot right now, again, we'll break down this Lions game, Thursday Night Football in Detroit. Minnesota on Sunday night at home. You would think that's big advantage, Dallas. Chargers at home. I like Dallas getting them at home. At Washington on Christmas. I mean, they've been feisty. They played well against Denver the other night, but you finish with them and the Giants. Dak historically against the division, really, really good. If they win this Lions game, Dallas, they could run the table. Loser of this game on Thursday is in big trouble, especially if Detroit loses, because then they play the Rams the next week. If the Detroit Lions lose at home to Dallas, I don't think they're a playoff team. I don't think they're going to make it because I don't think they'd beat the Rams. Then they're 7-7. They'd probably have to run the table just to have a chance after that. And that includes coming to Soldier Field, where it's probably going to be like 10 degrees. That's advantage Chicago in those elements. So this Thursday night game, buckle up. That is a major NFC playoff implications game. And then you got the Panthers, kind of like San Francisco. They got the late bye week here. At the Saints, Bucks, Seahawks, at Bucks. You know, I've kind of been the shit on the Panthers guy, but I do think Dave Canales has done a pretty good job. Bryce Young has clear limitations, but Sunday against the Rams, really good game plan. Run. Bryce Young makes some timely plays for us. 15 of 20. What's the key number in that stat for Bryce Young? 20. He only threw it 20 times. You don't want him throwing 35 times. I don't know what the hell Canales was doing against the Niners the week before. You have two good running backs. Run the football. Bryce Young makes some timely plays. Tetaroa, McMillan, etc. And, grind these games out. And those two Bucs games are going to be big. They're going to have – I think there's no scenario where they enter Week 16 where that game's not a win for first place in the division. I guess if they lost to the Saints and Tampa wins this week during the bye week, but other than that scenario, that game is probably for first place in the South, and then maybe it is again in Week 18 as well. So going to be very, very interesting. I think it's NFC South championship or bust for Carolina. I don't think they'll make the wild card, but you never know. All right, who is your dream first-round opponent for the Bears? If you could pick any team in the playoff picture that you could face, who would it be? To me, it's Carolina, especially if you get them at home and it's like 10 degrees. Now, they can run the ball with those backs, but Bryce Young in those conditions, if he can slow the run game down enough, I don't love his chances in elements. That's not a very realistic first-round opponent. If they make the playoffs, they're probably the 4 seed, so that means you're the 5 seed, so you're playing them on the road. A more realistic one, like, would you take your chances at home against the Niners in like a potential 2-7 game? Seattle in like a 3-6, 2-7 game maybe? I do not want to play the Rams. I don't love the idea of a third game against Green Bay in the first round in 6 weeks. It's just a lot of you're playing each other a bunch. That feels like a coin flip. So you guys let me know. Dream first round opponent for the Chicago Bears. Hopefully the Bears aren't playing in the first round. How about dream first round opponent? Bye. That is my dream first round opponent. And the Bears control their destiny to getting the number 1 overall seed. Hopefully they can do it. Long way to go, like Ben Johnson said. Subscribe and bear down.
That was a popular answer in the chat, by the way.
Bye.
Yeah.
That is the dream. Harrison's clean desk. I've been cleaning up that office. We're starting to pack it up. FGB, time to mix in a little Bear droppings and cheese and toss it at Packer fans. It is going to be the fan trash talk over the next week is going to be I can't wait for this, man.
We just get an FGB chant to close out the show. Little FGB chant in the chat. What up, Walter?
Get the FGBs. We'll wrap up our super chats too, and I do want to circle back one more time to the Cyber Monday and the FGB gear. We'll get that all going in the chat as well. We can go ahead and do that now. Cyber Monday deal ends tonight. Cardiac Bear shirts, 20% off. Link is going in the chat. Colin's getting it in there right now. Link's also in the description if you're watching after our live show. Click and shop today. Simple links for the FGB gear. If you just go to chatsports.com/FGB, that'll take you to the page with both the shirt and the hoodie. Then you can select from there. But if you want specifically the shirt and want to just have a shortcut, chatsports.com/FGB shirt. That'll get you to the t-shirt landing page. And then chatsports.com/FGB hoodie. This is pretty good looking hoodie. I mean, you got the dark navy, the orange with kind of the faded stuff in there, the Bears Now logo. You got the pouch, which is critical if you're living in the greater Chicago area. Pretty awesome. The hoodie's just $39.99. That's a pretty good price in today's market. A lot of hoodies I see are like $60, $70, $80. $39.99. The t-shirts are $29.99. So pretty awesome deal. Again, those Cardiac Bears shirts, Cyber Monday, that one's under the Cyber Monday deal. That's $24. But support the show. If enough people buy this stuff, we'll continue to launch more merch. And, we already have some good, better, best shirt ideas that we're potentially going to launch as well. Could do hats at some point. So your support is awesome. Good holiday gifts. So check that stuff all out. Appreciate everybody for tuning into the show. Cullen and I will be back live on Thursday unless there's major breaking news before then. And then, of course, our next live show after that will be Bears-Packers on Sunday. So it's going to be a busy week, going to be a fun week. Hopefully you'll join us for all of it. Subscribe, bear down. We'll see you soon.